Okay, so just looking at the outside of it, you see the conjunctival membranes here, which are just the mucous membranes that attach to the outside of the eyeball, and the cornea.
Yep.
Okay.
You can see it's a little more clear than the other one.
Muscles.
Yep.
Right there. I can't tell you which muscles are which. I'm not that good at orienting the eye. But I can find the optic nerve in here.
There it is.
Which is right there.
Yeah. That's the optic nerve right there that transmits the visual input into your brain.
So what we can do at this point is to open the eyeball.
What's the best way to open it?
I usually do it with scissors, but what you want to do is you want to cut around the eyeball like that so you have a front and a back. You see how this one was cut?
I see, so. Gosh, you're right, that material is tough.
But you can feel how tough that sclera is.
And there's all the vitreous. It's the first time I've gotten to use this. Okay, so
you can see what the consistency of this vitreous humor is.
Wow.
Yes, I'm doing this with my bare fingers.
I don't have any cuts on my hands. Ooh. Ow. Very, very gelatinous. Just falls right apart.
And this is the lens. This one's a little more deteriorated than this lens was.
Oh, but you can still see what's going on there. So this would fit. This is the front, right? This would fit right into here.
Yep, that's where it was sitting. If you scrape out that vitreous humor, you can see those structures in the front of the eye.
Oh, don't want to take the structures out too.
They're pretty well adhered to the front there.
There we go. So this would be. That's not the optic nerve, is it? No way.
No, the optic nerve is back here on the back.
Is this a muscle?
If I can see that for a moment, that actually may be the iris or the ciliary body.
Oh, just kind of out of place.
I'm going to do this by hand and take that extra stuff out. Okay. But you can now see right through the cornea. There's the pupil right there.
Yeah.
And you notice their pupil's a different shape than ours.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because ours is circular and theirs is almost oval.
Yeah. If I can get the probe here. You can see the kind of radial muscles here of the ciliary, and then the iris right here.
And again, the iris controls how much light comes in the eye.
And the ciliary puts tension or releases tension on the edges of the lens. Okay.
And I wanted to show Haley this tapetum lucidum. Is that
Tapetum lucidum,
tapetum lucidum?
Before you do that, that's the retina right there.
Oh, okay. And you can see all the blood vessels.
Those are actually probably folds.
Oh, I see, in the retina. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and but you can see where they all converge, which is going to be the optic disc.
Okay. Again, the optic disc precedes the optic nerve. What is this?
That's part of the tapetum. If you lift the retina at this point,
oh wow! Look how iridescent that is.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's what makes night vision possible for some animals.
Yep.
Am I getting that? Oh yeah. Wow, that's amazing. This stuff is so fascinating.
Yep. So those are the reflective cells that reflect light back at the retina if they pass all the way through.
Very cool. Huh. And then here we have some fat and some muscle. Let's kind of see some of that muscle tissue. have a mouse that my cat caught that I'm going to dissect it. Oops. Well, I think that's actually muscle.
Yeah, it's muscle.
So there is the optic nerve. And that's where it comes out. The other... Where does the optic nerve not go all the way? Or would you have to take this?
No, the really tough part of it remains on the outside of the eyeball because it's the same material as the sclera.
Oh, okay.
It's all the nerve fibers that are inside of it that then spread out through the retina.
I see. So this is just reflective part. So the nerve fibers over the top. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what would happen if you took out the
choroid?
tapetum?
The tapetum is part of the choroid. So
Okay.
you can lift that and pull it away from the inside.
Would it be better
of the
to cut
sclera.
it or use tweezers?
Just lift it. Might have to use tweezers to grab it.
Oh, yeah, it's starting to go already. Oh, wow. Oh, okay, and there we see the fibrous muscle.
That's actually scrape it away a little more.
Oh.
There. Some of it's clean. There. So now that's the inside of the sclera, the outer coat.
I see. And this is a really tough
The
layer.
sclera is the really tough part. Yep. And you can feel that as you squeeze that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's very tough. It's almost fingernail tough. Wow. And so much of the eyeball is actually hidden inside the skull.
Most of it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fascinating. Excellent.
Yep. And that's the choroid, which is that layer that has melanocytes in it, and that's why it's black in there.
Okay.
And the black is to absorb any excess light that doesn't get absorbed and to keep it from bouncing around inside in the interior of the eyeball.
Now, my eyes are very sensitive to light. Is that because I have less of that area, or is that just...
I'm not sure. Have you ever had a test done, like with an ophthalmologist or anything?
Yeah. He hasn't really mentioned anything particular. Maybe it's just a little...
It could be that your iris doesn't close your pupil down well enough and you still have too much light going in or something like that. I don't know what the causes of sensitivity to light would be.
So even though the lens is rather large...
Cornea.
The cornea. I'll get those right eventually. The cornea is rather large.
Yes.
The actual entrance into the eyeball pupil
is fairly small.
is very, very small
Yes.
comparatively.
Yes.
Very interesting. And then what is this part surrounding the...
That's the conjunctival membrane. That the actual spot where the cornea and the sclera come together is called the limbus.
Okay.
Which was not actually in our...
Where would that be on this?
See right where that line's going for zonules?
Uh-huh.
Right there where the cornea meets the
So
sclera.
right here?
Yeah.
Limbus.
Yeah.
And the function of the limbus?
All it is since the cornea and the sclera are actually the same layer and are essentially made of the same material.
Right, you can feel how tough it is.
It's where the composition of it changes so that you have the clearness of the cornea, the transparency.
I
because
see.
It doesn't have, what you do is you lose cells. The sclera will still have cells in it, but the cornea doesn't have cells in it. It only has fibers.
Oh.
Because cells would cut down on the ability of light to go through.
Right. It'd be
So it has
opaque,
colorless.
right.
It has colorless fibers in very regular arrangements.
Huh. Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to let me do this. This is awesome. Interesting. A lot of muscles.
And we're going to have a quiz on it tomorrow.
Yes. I've been studying. And so, familiarize myself with this. This hands-on stuff is really great. I thought the optic nerve would be bigger.
Nope.
big enough, I guess, for the lecture.
It's always drawn bigger. But it's
Yeah.
not that big.
Wow. Well, thank you, Anne.
You're welcome.
I think I've made quite a mess.
You know what you can do after this? You take a paper towel,
Yeah.
just scoop it all up,
That's easy.
and it goes in the trash.
Do you think you can just wash these in soap and water, or do you want to?
You can rinse it with water, and that's it. This stuff, unless you
it's
get really greasy, it will rinse off with water.
Okay. My daughter